All right, President Biden selected Atlanta as the backdrop for his speech today on the federal takeover of elections, during which he repeated what the left has been trying to drill into the minds of the American public, that our democracy is in peril and that the solution is to give more power to the federal government.
They want chaos to reign. We want the people to rule.
Now, I pulled that clip in particular. He's talking about those who want the states to continue to oversee elections and make sure that it's easy to vote but hard to cheat. He says they want chaos, but they want the people to rule. Now, this I just thought was a little ironic coming from the mandate President Mandate Biden, who wants to tell people to wear masks, to get shots, but he wants the people to rule. Joining me now to talk about the president's speech in Texas is the Attorney General of Texas. The president's speech in Atlanta is the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton. Ken, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Tony, always good to be back. You're doing a great job, and thanks for bringing this issue up. It's a big issue for our country.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this, because you've gone toe-to-toe with the Biden administration over election issues. What's going on here? So
my belief is that they are doing their best to make it as easy as possible for them to control states like Texas, Georgia. They want a one-party system where it's impossible for us to win. And if you look at states like California, where the mail-in ballot rules are already set up and it's easy to commit voter fraud, they don't prosecute it. And I know from prosecuting voter fraud in my own state, we have literally hundreds of cases going right now, that it's the easiest way to commit voter fraud, and that's what they want to do, maximize voter fraud. And look, we provide great accessibility in Texas. We give you 2 weeks to vote, 2 weeks. We added more time to it. So it's not about people not voting. If you can't vote in 2 weeks, you probably don't want to vote. But this idea that we want to loosen it up so we don't know who's voting, that's a different issue.
You know, I've been wondering, maybe he's going to mandate voting. Maybe he's just mandate that everybody go and vote. But I think maybe they're afraid of that because so many people don't agree with the policies they're pushing. I want to play another clip from his speech, because this is something that has been debunked multiple times since he said it months ago when Georgia first passed their election reform bill. Play clip number 7.
The new Georgia law actually makes it illegal. Think of this. I mean, it's 2020, and now 22 going into that election. It makes it illegal to bring your neighbors, your fellow voters, food or water while they wait in line to vote.
Oh, I mean, this has been debunked. What it says is campaigns can't be passing out material and water, but election officials can give water and food if people are standing in line. How does the president continue to get by with this and the media not taking him to task?
Well, I think we both know that the media has an agenda, too. It's very similar to his. They love the same thing that he wants, which is a one-party system that does what he's doing, which is dictate to us how we live, whether we have to get a shot or keep our jobs or whatever they decide they want to control. The media is very, very on board with his agenda.
Now, Texas had a pretty tough legislative session last year, but election reform made it through the process after a special session. What's going to happen in Texas? Will Texas fight back against efforts by the Biden administration to change its laws?
We're already in a lawsuit over defending our Texas laws from the Biden administration. I will say this, though, we are at great risk in Texas, more than we've ever been, I think, since December 15th, when our Court of Criminal Appeals, which is our Supreme Court for criminal matters, ruled 2 days after their filing deadline so that nobody could run against them. And by the way, it's a 9-0 Republican court. They ruled that the Texas Attorney General, who's had the authority to prosecute voter fraud since 1951, pursuant to all legislative action and pursuant to the Constitution, that it is unconstitutional now for the Attorney General's office to prosecute voter fraud, which means now only local DAs, according to this ruling, only local DAs in like Travis County, which is very liberal and funded by Soros, Bexar County, which is funded by Soros, the DA there as well, Harris County, they will be responsible for prosecuting voter fraud, which means that we are not going to prosecute voter fraud in Texas anymore if we don't undo what the Criminal Court of Appeals did on December 15th.
Well, how will that take place? How will that be undone?
It's a pretty scary thought. Right now, we filed a motion for rehearing. We lost 8-1. One Republican judge voted with us. He's the one that got it right. I've asked the governor and others to file amicus briefs. I think we're going to have congressmen filing amicus briefs, the state Senate. This is a backdoor way to change Texas, and I mean to change Texas really quickly. Like it will start changing in November.
We're going to talk in a moment later in the program. We're going to be talking with Hayden Lugwood about the dark money that Democrats have been using. You mentioned Soros. He's just one of many. But it's not just at the federal level. They've been working to change DAs and election officials and others at local levels just for this purpose.
No, it's genius. They've worked on switching out. We had Democratic DAs in Travis County and Bexar, but they weren't liberal enough. So Soros he unseated 2 Democratic AGs in those counties. And now we're in a position where the Court of Criminal Appeals basically took away the ability of the state of Texas to stop voter fraud. So if the local DA that Soros put in place wants to allow hundreds of thousands of ballots to be fraudulently turned in, there's nothing that we can do if that decision stands.
Wow, amazing. This is why elections are so important, people being informed and engaged. General Ken Paxton, as always, great to talk with you. Thanks so much for coming on today.
Thanks, Tony. I appreciate what you're doing.